When I moved here in the 90s, I noticed that there was just an incredible amount of unclimbed rock. Every time I find more rock, another stack pops up or another cave. People that come here to climb new routes end up leaving with a great list of things they're coming back for. If I can find this without looking, then what else is there?
Really cool opportunity to go back to Owey, having not been here for 6 years. Just got lots of amazing places, like little secret gems, and they're all tucked away, so you're always exploring and finding somewhere new. It's a pretty special place, really.
I always just think of it in terms of really bold, striking colours. Beautiful clear blue sky, crystal clear turquoise water, pink tinge to the beautiful granite. I've been wanting to go back every year since the last time I was out, which was probably 2015.
At the moment, I'm not working. I'm just focusing on climbing. Extremely simple, humble lifestyle. Yeah, but it forces you to get out and climb as much as possible. Like, I've done a lot of climbs, but it seems like I haven't been to Owey yet.
I didn't learn to trad climb until about 5 years ago. Ireland is like a place for trad climbing, so if you feel like you're not a trad climber and you feel like you don't belong, like say out in Owey, I've heard a lot about how there's new route potential.
So our plan is to go and explore the island, drinking tea and climbing as much as we can. So yeah, it's amazing. It's on the map now.
There's definitely been a hive of development. People coming out to Owey, doing new lines.
On Owey in the 90s, there's a guy called David Walsh, and he climbed, let's say, 8 routes, all in the canyon. And Owey was pretty much left alone then. Then, a couple of guys from Belfast decided to come out and they rediscovered. They didn't discover the Holy Jesus Wall, but they seen it from a pair of eyes that could actually do something with it.
So it was 6 years ago was the first time I went to Owey with my friend John. It was his idea. We paddled across to Owey and then just set off on these sit-on-top kayaks going around the island. I'd never paddled a boat before. And I remember at one stage around on the west side of the island, we were paddling along just like looking at the cliffs, looking at places to possibly try and climb. And it sneaks up on you, it's hidden, it's in a little zone, so whenever you first see it, it's just like, that's the first words that come into your head. The Holy Jesus Wall, or Holy Jesus Wall. It's this unbelievable sweep of steep orange granite.
I haven't actually looked at the guidebook yet, but I'd like to climb on the Holy Jesus Wall. It's just so aesthetic looking. It just looks amazing.
You don't expect it, and it's just there. And the first time that me and John looked at it, we went looking at it on like a wet, windy day, and we looked down at it and we were like, well, that's obviously impossible. You can't climb that. Like, it just looked like there was nothing, and it was way too steep and intimidating to even think about abseiling into. So John went back the following year, and obviously in that year had gotten a lot braver and decided to abseil down. So I know that he did the first 2 routes on that Holy Jesus Wall in 2014 with Paul and another friend of his.
The photographs of their first ascents in climbing terms went viral.
So yeah, I think they had a blast doing them. The quality is just world class. So yeah, people have travelled from all over to come and do these. So
Yeah, no, I just want to do it. Let's go, yeah.
Everything was like glowing, and Conor was just like plodding along.
Absolutely amazing. Won't be as.
So Owey popped up, and from those two ascents, then there's been a steady stream of steely-fingered characters coming out and climbing really hard stuff. Would I describe myself as a steely-fingered individual? No, I'm a chubby, balding, middle-aged guy that occasionally goes climbing. That's pretty much. I've no illusions of grandeur. I have an enormous amount of fun, well within my pay grade, if you know what I mean.
I think Iain's great. I've got a lot of respect for him. I've only met him like 3 times. But like the word madman comes up a lot.
So what's the name of your rabbit dinghy?
They haven't got a name, they don't last that long.
He takes people up sea stacks. That's his niche, and he puts up new routes on sea stacks, and he's totally psyched for it, which is amazing to see.
He just wants to go like have like the purest form of adventure he can.
Come on, baby!
Well, I've lived in Donegal since 2005, but I also lived here for a couple of years in the early 90s. So I've got quite a long relationship with the place, and now I'm not leaving. If I was to define what it is that motivates me more than anything else, is going to places where I strongly suspect that no one's ever been, like the summits of unclimbed sea stacks.
It kind of seems like his personality matches the like wildness. He's almost like a part of the landscape. That's what I like about him. It's all about the adventure. He just wants to go have like the purest form of adventure he can. And he wants to like bring other people out to do it.
You have to do a warm-up circuit before you get your feet out.
Is that what you've been doing?
Yeah, that's why we come to Owey.
No, come on.
I feel like I actually could have like a lot to learn from him, like, understanding his like approach to adventure, because I find it quite intimidating, like adventure climbing.
If you're to take like a snapshot of the island, then you've got 3 main walls, which most definitely have the hardest rock climbs. You've got the Holy Jesus Wall, and equal to that is the Nose Wall, the Shron. It's not quite as high, but it makes up for that in that it's almost 4-dimensional in the amount of roofs that you have to look at to work out your lines, and all the roofs are interconnected with outrageous soaring crack lines. And then you've got the Wild Atlantic Wall. It's the steepest single overhanging wall, so it's very rare, or rare enough, that you're going to be on the wall and it's going to be calm. It tends, like a lot of sea cliffs and a lot of islands, that you tend to have patches of horrible, chossy, sandy, grimy, and next door to that, a couple of metres to the left or right, you can have just absolutely bomber, immaculate granite. So the whole island is just scattered, great rock, not so great rock, all the way around.
There are so many routes in Ireland to do. I guess I haven't had the need yet to feel like I need to go out and go new routing. I've never really been anywhere with more new routing potential than there are like routes. I do look forward to like the first time I do a new route. I don't know the feeling, so I know once I do it, I'll probably get the bug for it.
She went and checked out a couple of new routes on the left-hand side of the Hoyages as well, in horrific conditions. Like, I wouldn't have even walked to the top of the crag.
Kind of came here thinking I'd like to do my first new route, and I just kind of like, yeah, went for a wander. It's so windy. I'm entirely winging it. It's like diving in the deep end. There's foam blowing off over the sea. And I've never abbed into clean a route. Feels like one of the wildest places I can be cleaning a route right now. But I'm pretty psyched. I've been like kind of like copying out doing new routing for a couple of years. Feels like a development in my climbing. It's like the next step. No excuses.
She went up and down multiple times, scoping out new lines, so yeah, fair play to her. She's psyched. She's a person that likes to put her heart and soul into what she does, and that was definitely true yesterday. Coming back at 6 or 7 in the evening, soaking wet after having been up and down that wall in the wind a few times.
I tried to pick one that I thought would be like quite accessible and easy to work on for my first one, but because it's accessible and easy and it hasn't been done, and that was kind of a sign that it was bad rock. So I think the whole face is just one big cliff of sand. So it was a bit of a disaster. Pretty disappointed, frustrated. It took like a lot of time. I haven't really climbed yet because I really want to go do a new route. But I'm also kind of understanding it's part of the process of doing new routes.
When John and I first came to Owey 6 years ago, we did about 5 or 6 first ascents. Thinking it would be nice to maybe revisit some of those old ones. I know that there's also some variations to do on the routes that we did put up. There's one called it the Lippy project, and it just traverses out along the lip. And we had tried it kind of like just on site, like just, I wonder, can you go out that way? It looks possible, and John reckons that it is possible, but I don't know what the gear situation is, so yeah, I've got an arsenal of pegs and peckers and sky hooks, so we'll see if we can protect it to get out. Because if you could traverse out along that lip, it would be one of the most like jaw-dropping pitches you'd have ever done anywhere.
Well, we're at the top of the Lippy project, and we're about to abseil down. It looks dry. I don't know whether there's any holds down there or not. I'm going to ab down the corner and see if we can get some gear and find some holds across that lip. So that's the plan. It's good to have a healthy paranoia about the edges. Right, go down.
The conditions in general are highly unpredictable, so your skill set needs to be quite high so that you're operating below what you think you're going to get away with. It's just very, very adventurous.
So initial thoughts are that the climbing is unbelievable on it. It's all there, it's all possible, but it's mental. It's amazing to try it though. Like it's almost like the sort of thing that could do with a few bolts in it, and then it would be nice. But it feels like these crimps are just going to snap, and I'm going to like fly back onto this thing. Try these again.
My first trip to Owey back in 2013, I just remember being blown away by the power of the sea crashing against that west side of the island that you tend to climb on. And I remember abbing into the bottom of this thing, which we thought was a new route at the time. And as soon as I was getting ready to lead up, this massive wave just smashed against the cliff and over the top of us and left us totally drenched. And that was the absolute turning point for me, where I was just sure that this is what I wanted to do with my life. From then, from being terrified of leading VSs, I think the next year I head pointed my first E7. I was so obsessed. Yeah, that ignited this passion just to go climb some new lines.
We went and checked out an area called the Black Spink, and Michelle found this amazing new line, so she checked that out. Michelle thought it was going to be like maybe like an E5 or an E6, but it's absolutely nails. It hardly has any jugs on it. The gear's good. Well, it looked like it was good. It was holding for her. It's number one nut in a flared crack. And I looked at it and I just laughed. But yeah, she took 4 or 5 like big lobs onto it. I had no idea how you're supposed to climb that. Even that was on top rope. So yeah, Michelle did amazing today. She didn't get up it, but I think tomorrow with a little bit more prep, bit better warm up, she'll smash it out.
My thoughts on pre-assessing a route other than looking up it is a lot of the stuff I'm climbing on sea stacks can be quite loose. And if you take that away, you're creating a certainty. And if it's certain, I don't really want to do it because the adventure is lacking.
The blade is sometimes called Stack a Million. We call it the blade purely because it's the last fragment of rock in the basin. The sea's taken away every other piece of rock and just left this 20-metre needle. I've had a wee bit of a relationship with this sea stack and it's beginning to annoy me. I've got the second ascent of it about 10 years after the first. It was first climbed in the 90s by a couple of Polish guys who did an E2 up the very obvious groove. We're going to do a route on the seaward face, which follows kind of discontinuous cracks with a kind of horrible, hard-looking roof to start with. The actual physical climbing, I think, is going to be at my limit. If not at my limit, pretty close.
If I was climbing hard as the guys and girls that are out here now, then there's not a chance that I would set off on that quest not knowing a lot more about the piece of rock that was potentially going to fall off.
If I flounder, fall off and get emotional, then Michelle's going to take the reins.
I've only ever climbed one sea stack before and it didn't go all that well. It was probably the most terrifying experience of my life, I'd say. Iain is such a lovely guy. Like, I just want to be there. If he wants my support, I want to be there to give it to him. So, in the adventure together.
Okay.
Go get it.
I climbed up as far as I could, tried the moves a few times, but you instinctively know if the move is too hard for you. And then we hand it over to Michelle. Give it a go.
I don't know whether me and you are going to be friends after this. Like, if we were to add down and clean it, or at least have a look at it down a rope or something, but what I would be going for out there, it definitely looks like I would grab it and it just crumble off.
Okay.
Each to their own. That's definitely me. Like I said last time, I'd never climb a sea stack again. It's just reinforced it. No, it does have the potential to be really good, but it's so dirty. Like, it's alive up there. It'll be excellent.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Disappointed, yes. But this is what we do. This is all nature of the game. When you look for things that are at your limit, not being able to do them is part of the process. Having been doing this for over 30 years, what I tend to think is, okay, I'll be back.
I think people underestimate how long it might take to get shit done.
I think I've absolutely done maybe 5 routes and climbed 1 so far in this trip. So, yeah, just keep pushing the ratio in that direction.
The older I get, the more it becomes about the evenings and the people. Inevitably, when you start climbing and you notice a really fast progression, you're always pushing for a little bit more from yourself. But various things in life have taught me that that's not necessarily the important bit. You know, you need to be having fun and making connections with beautiful people.
The moves on the very last part of it, you step into this like perfect right angle
Your whole
corner.
body relaxed when you got that home. You were like, it was like you could just see like every.
I got the Owey Island.
You don't need television sitting around the fire. If you were to put electricity to the island, then you take something away from what it is you come out to the island for. The island was full-time occupied until the 70s.
I was told there were maybe 100 people on Owey when it was at its peak, about 30 families. Isn't that right?
30 families.
Yeah.
When they closed the school down, that's when the younger people had to leave, ones with families, and then the older people were sort of stuck without the younger people.
So in the 70s, the island just depopulated. And nowadays, the relations of those people have kept houses on the island. So a lot of the time when you come out, the people you're meeting in the houses are very much what it would have been in the 70s.
I came here when I was 17 years old, allegedly to fish lobsters, but what I ended up doing was more or less an apprenticeship, going around the local pubs and enjoying myself. And I did put lobster pots out, but They didn't get hauled very often. Just enough lobsters to buy beer. On our first 10 years here, it was just us.
We just fell in love with the place. The locals had left all the houses more or less intact. The curtains were still up, the cutlery was there, the crockery was there.
We bought this house which used to be the old post office.
Well, it's a very easy pace of life, you know, and you're very attuned with nature because you spend so much time outside. And like, I would go swimming nearly every morning that I can. It's just beautiful, as you can imagine. You're out in the boat, you're fishing. It's all very laid back. The weather this week is completely phenomenal, and it's not typical of Owey at all. This is the best week I remember in about 2 or 3 years, I think. It's quite often stormy and very often rainy, and you could be stormed in here for 3 weeks. On a wet day here, sometimes what we'll do, we just sit around and drink tea all day and have the crack.
In the evenings when there's people in, we'll go around the houses and maybe take a beer or a wee glass of wine.
It's good, it's a nice way of life. It's nice that it's popular with the climbers and the kayakers because we find that they're very respectful to the environment. It does make me a bit nervous watching people doing it, but I find it very entertaining to watch. Yeah.
Saying that, when I was a young fella, I was up and down the cliffs too, but you know.
No ropes or anything, of course.
Well, I might have had a rope.
I've got something new picked out today, and I think the rock is better, but it looks really hard. The one I'm looking at, I've been trying to suss out all morning if there's already a line there, and I don't think there is. I saw this thing and I was like, whoa, that wall is amazing. And then I started trying it and I thought it was the best route ever. And then I had like a heartbreaking realisation that I couldn't do the bottom.
She spent a long time on the wall, just working out where the line was going to go, checking moves, checking gear, and that's very tiring on itself, especially on a big overhanging cliff like the one she's on.
And I tried like 4 different lines at the bottom. 3 of them just seemed impossible, and the 4th one seemed really unlikely. It's a disaster. I thought the whole route worked out, but couldn't do it. I'm almost overwhelmed by it. Yeah, I've just never been somewhere where there are so many options. A few days just doesn't feel enough for this island.
Owey, the development's quite unusual in that you've got people coming out to an island specifically to climb hard routes, and yet in between the hard routes there's much easier lines left undone. Owey's kind of missed out that phase. In my opinion, the world-class climbing is where the roofs and the steepness begins.
So yesterday Connor abseiled down and checked out this groove.
It is totally wild. The waves are like crashing underneath it, and there's this huge overhanging rock feature buttress. It's such a beautiful wall, and the rock is perfect.
Yeah, I was having some psych level difficulties, I suppose. It's always those goes when you're like, oh, fuck it. Like, you let go of all the pressure, then things all come together.
So yeah, Connor had a go in it, and he said he was able to flash it on the shunt, but he said it's very pretty protected, so he doesn't want to keep practicing it, he's just ready to go for it.
It's quite bold, so it's not a case of, oh, I need to work the moves loads. It's either you're doing it or you're not doing it. No matter how many times you work the moves, it's still going to be bold. I ab down the route, brush the holds, then I let it.
fit, so going through those small holes, I was getting really pumped really quickly.
Want to go? We gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever. Want to go? We gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever.
Conor got to climb his pitch in the sun, which he was a wee bit like, woof. Granite in the sun is never an easy experience. You just lose all friction.
Going up that slab, I don't think it would have been a very good outcome if he'd fallen off from there.
My foot popped like in a really awkward spot, and I somehow like just stuck to the rock.
It would have been really, really, really bad.
You have nothing but sheer drops, ocean and air below you. It's mega.
I wasn't the only person willing this guy to place the gear and stop his feet from slipping. It's terrifying.
Just try not think about it. Try get it done like relatively quickly.
I don't know how hard it is or any of that.
It's hard. It's flipping nails, and the crux is the last move.
Yeah, I've never climbed anything like that.
I didn't get to second, but from all reports was unbelievable, like world class. And Conor was smiling from ear to ear. They were buzzing.
Thanks a million, Kev. You just transfer such good energy. That's the only reason I did it, I think.
Yeah.
Was the good sport.
And you fucking did it. You did it.
Pulled it out of the bag.
Gee. You're a monster. I don't know how you came into that undercut. That was mental. Oh my god, you did it. Utterly nails.
No worse than yours.
A million times.
Ooh, the Lippy Traverse. Basically at 10 a.m. I just decided there was no point in being nervous anymore. There was no point in feeling that kind of anxiety, because it was just getting a bit much. And I know it's reasonably safe. Like, I don't think you're not going to die on it. You could fall for a very long time, but I accepted that I would give it a good lead and see what happens.
Rope below! Well, I hope I see you on the other side, because this could be the end of it. And it won't be that bad, but yeah, worst case scenario. Well, let's not think about worst case scenario. Let's just go. So they can.
At the belay, it was great because it was just hanging out with Conor and Michelle, and they were really happy. Conor had just sent his pitch, and I think that helped a lot, their psyche kind of passed on for my attempt. So I was just like, well, I can't let the team down here. Eventually you just get tired of thinking about it, and you're just like, well, you're either going to go for it or not. So I've decided I need to go for it.
I've been walking down this road, on my own. on my own. I've been searching to find my way.
And you're shuffling along and just bringing your heel with you. And often when you're shuffling, you have to put your heel on stuff that you're like, geez, that's not gonna hold. So you just kind of have to keep going with it.
He hung on the lip for ages placing the gear, which is really cool to see.
Then I was just like, why am I not depumping? My right arm was not recovering.
And then he did the crux move, got up into the corner, calmed himself down.
You're knackered by this stage, like your feet are tired. I couldn't feel my toes. Your hands have been crimping a lot, so your fingers are tired. And just the doubt of the world is on you. You're like, should you be here? If the gear doesn't hold, what the hell is going to happen? The realization of what the hell I was doing and the position that I'd put myself in and what I'd committed to dawned on me. Yeah, it fully maxed out. There was this, like, the barrel was empty. Conor kept shouting up words of encouragement, and Michelle as well. Yeah, in that final corner, I thought that was it. I thought it was like, flip, I'm going to come off here. And just got this, like, just this image and this thought of Dad came into my head. And I guess I was thinking about Dad because he'd recently been in hospital for an operation, and it was a pretty serious one. He was at home making a good recovery. But I just felt like in that moment that a lot of the emotion of just sort of seeing Dad in hospital and just being worried for him, then it all just kind of came to a point in that moment. I just felt like, right, buddy, better not slip here, just do this for Dad and just get through it and get on with it. So he gave me a lot of power to keep going to the top. Felt like he was there with me. I can't speak. Thanks. Cheers. Whenever you're on a hard lead like that, kind of like lays bare your emotion on a plate, really. You know, there's nothing else there. It's just pure emotion. But I'm very happy, and I'm gonna go home and help Mum and Dad cut the grass. Yeah, it was just cool to feel the support of everybody, and just great that Conor got up his pitch and Michelle enjoyed it too. So. I mean, to have tried it 6 years ago as a bit crack and just like going out 2 meters and dangling off a jug and thinking, oh flip, I wish I could go out there but I can't, to like sitting here now and having done it, it's kind of like, how did that happen? It hasn't sunk in yet. It definitely hasn't sunk in yet.
Yeah, it was amazing to see him do it. I was really psyched, really happy for him.
Look at that for a top out.
I hope Chloe gets up her thing now, because if she does, everybody will have done the projects and that doesn't really happen when you're working projects generally very often. So go on, Chloe.
Like, I'm usually more nervous than excited when I go down to the route, but this is the first time ever that I'm more excited than nervous. I'm like really excited. It's like quite an epic, like, first new route. It was like the most epic first new route I could ever do. Like, I want it more than I've ever wanted to climb on the hill.
My opinion now has been thrown to the wind in the last 2 days, 3 days. I think to define what's changed is I never realised just how rock climbing had progressed. I'd never actually seen someone pull through a roof with just monster air and monster falls and big swing potential and keep pulling and pushing and pulling to get to that next piece of, let's face it, imaginary gear high above just massive falls. I've been both humbled and I'm in awe of just how hard climbing is.
I felt like everyone else was having a great time. And I was just like failing. And I cried yesterday because I thought it wouldn't go. Life success was pinned on that route all week. What? It's done. That was like maybe the best experience of my life. Climbed one route this week, first new route. Meant a lot to me to do it.
If you do a new route, it's like leaving your mark. It's a bit of history.
We've done some smashing lines, I think, this week. Real beauties, like sort of once in a lifetime things. Absolutely amazing.
So they're hard routes, but it's just part of the whole Owey saga, really. You know, like, people have been climbing out here for 20, 30 years, and will continue to, hopefully. There's so much more scope, and it's really nice to be part of that history.
I think as you go through life, you tend to gather knowledge. And you gather knowledge by doing things, and it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're learning from every experience. And for me, I realised that earning a living, or earning a lot of money being a ship's engineer, was so unimportant, because I felt like I was wasting my time. And if I'd said to anybody at any point in the 45, 49 years I've been alive, that I'm going to be a full-time sea stag climber, I would have been just laughed at. But your sense of spirit and adventure allows you to fulfill what it is you want to do. So whatever you want to do in life, do it.